Hello all, hope your season is going well. Yesterday I was able to push to legendary tier and then able to collect a few chests also. That was largely due to a few tech unlocks after 6 years, so I'm still not picked up any defenses yet. Very basic base. But what helped me get there was more due to the time of the unlocks rather than anything else, which is the 6 ER and the building held. That was just sufficient enough so that I could win against most of the 5 ER opponents that I was matching, plus also a lot of the 6 ER opponents, because there's quite a few 6s out there, at least the ones which I'm facing. And after that, with the legendary rank chest, I was able to get the building damage. The chest after that, I was able to get troop health, and then I was just short of a few keys for troop damage, which I'm able to unlock now. And that did take 2 legendary chests for me, but that's not the end of the world. It's good to get that troop damage under the belt, and then I can see what to do next. In terms of my log, decent enough log for now. 2 losses, once against a Chinese player and one against Commander Rob. Well played, mate. That was my first hit for the morning. I always lose that, so not too worried about losing that, but well played by Commander Rob. In terms of the hits that I'm doing, let's go through the replays. Quite a basic set of 6 layouts currently. People aren't really experimenting too much. Most of them for me are hits which I'm doing using bombers, rifles, and command. Sometimes I do throw in a few seekers if I feel that I could get the base done. But as the bases are spread out, I try to get most of the ERs with bombers, but do end up barting 1 ER at times just to help speed up the hit. On this one, my troops are mostly coming from the bottom ramp, because a lot of the ERs seem to be closer towards the bottom ramp. I think I could say that it's also the case for the side ramp too, but that's just personal preference, I guess. Cut the base done. Next one, Salama, who was using a similar sort of layout as me. I was able to get him by a few seconds. And on this one, most of my troops are coming from the side ramp. Again, just looking at the base, I do end up changing the hit. Something to bear in mind, and also see what works best for you, because what worked best for me yesterday and today may not really be valid anymore, as people make those adjustments to the bases or they get more tech, etc. And then we do have to come up with new hits and keep the game interesting enough. But letting the bombers take down 5 of the 6 ERs and then barting out the final ER. With BH, it's not easy to bart out the final ER. It does take a lot of GBE, but finally was able to get it done. Next one, similar sort of player who was on a tech path like me. The only difference is Nightwala has a 3rd shock launcher compared to the bomb mines which I have. So we are both closely tracking on terms of the tech at least. And this was an interesting layout. I hadn't really hit it before, I think. So I just opted to go from the bottom ramp on this one. I think it could be done from the side ramp too, but just looked far enough that the CR could be the slowest one to take down, so I decided to go on the bottom ramp for this one. The usual hit, use the sharks to protect the bombers a little bit, and then get the final ER done with the BART. Just got enough BART, otherwise it could have very well been a fizzle as well for me. This one, 5 ER opponent very few of these that I'm facing now. I thought that I would face a few more for at least maybe a couple of days, but that's not the case. The troop hill definitely helped on such hits, as the troops do tend to last a bit longer. The seekers also tend to last a bit longer. And I'm using like 3 boats of seekers to take down one of the ERs, and then using BART to take down another ER, while the bombers are taking care of the remaining 3 ERs. This also gets a bit close in terms of the GBE, because obviously we only have 1 GBE node, but 5 ERs are definitely way easier to take down now. Next one, 234. This one was similar layout to Nightwater, which I had shown just a few minutes back. And I decided to try a split hit instead to see if that could help speed up my time. It did a little bit, but I think this play also did not have BH, if I remember correctly. So obviously those hits are slightly quicker. Just going predominantly from the side ramp, I do have a boat of bombers from the bottom just to get that spread going. And then once I have enough GB, I can take care of the furthest ER so that my troops don't have to travel all the way along. Looking at the amount of BART, I think the player might have had BART too, but don't remember fully. Then against Luke, who's also having a slim base like me, but with 3 shock launchers instead of the boom mines, kind of similar to Nightwater. I think they are in the same task force, so maybe they're coordinating their tech tree a bit better that way and trying to see what tech works out best for them. Going to do a similar approach, using a couple of water bombers to take down an ER on this side to help speed up taking down that ER, and then BART out the furthest ER from my troops, and then use Hail Mary to get the final 2 ERs as well. I did have enough meat shield left, so did not really need to use a shock. I could just use the GB on the BART itself. First hit of the day, well played Commander Rob, but it was a similar sort of hit. I was just slow overall. And then I was able to meet Mr. Polly. So he and me pretty much are similar tech too, apart from I have those boom mines and he doesn't. And on this one I decided to try a split seeker hit just to see how that would work out. Because without boom mines, I think seekers could still be in play. I could practically try to seek the base too, but didn't want to risk it because I was trying to get that legendary chest to get to troop damage, which I think would help speed up my hits by maybe 10 to 15 seconds, hopefully. So using 4 boat of seekers to take out the bulk of the 3 ERs on the left side, while the bombers are working on the right side. Still have to use the BART too, because obviously the seekers don't have the troop damage yet, so they do take a bit of time to take down an ER at 100 BH. And then finally I was able to get back into legendary to open up the chest and get the troop damage sorted out. So quite a full base on this one. The only thing which this opponent is missing is the proto node, but 3 shock launchers and 5 flamethrowers are there. Just using a spread hit on both sides. I actually thought that I would lose out on this one time, but luckily I was able to get that win by 2 seconds. Just using the GB more for shocking this time rather than barting to try out a different sort of a style. Did end up losing a few of the bombers, but luckily I had enough bombers left which could take down the final ER on the left side of the base as well. In terms of the leaderboard, it's looking quite great. Task Force, we already have quite a few legendary players, and the others are trying to get back into legendary. I know Lion King and Nonsec were there a couple of days back, I believe. GP board is looking quite good. This is a new player I haven't seen before, but well played to him. Global Commander J Doom, he's leading the global board. Well played to him, and a lot of familiar names on the top of the leaderboard too, and quite a few legendary players. So nearly 30 odd. I think if we count the people who have got into legendary and dropped out, it's probably close to 40 or 50 players who might be similar to that. In terms of what's next for me, I'm not too sure. I think Bullet could be interesting if I could find a way to use Seekers fully, but with the amount of 3 shock launcher bases, proto bases, boom mines, flamethrowers, 100 DBD, etc. I'm not too sure whether that will fully work. I know a few players have gone down that route, and they're using Bullet to the max on their hits, but I'm not 100% sure. But yes, I would like to get to 7 ER as quickly as possible, just because of the deck layout, plus also to get to the final troop damage of this deck tree. Also, I'm considering going back for the shock launcher and the proto at least, because those two could be helping out against other Seeker players who might be finding my base too easy to Seeker. And then also consider flamethrower and the heavies. I don't think I would necessarily need the other DBD node, because I think 50 DBD should be enough with flamethrowers to stop most of the Seeker hits at least, if nothing else. But let's see. I'll make a decision on that as we progress through this weekend. That's a wrap for today, folks. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you next time.